We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us. Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
That's
Do your thing.
that's how I think of you. A deflating balloon. That's how I describe you to my people I know that don't know you.
You describe
Like, oh.
me as a deflating balloon.
Yeah, because every time I mention your name, for some reason people get very intrigued and they're like, "Oh, what's that guy like? If he's cool enough to be your friend, I want to know all about him." And I said, "Well, his overall demeanor and attitude, I could best describe as, a squeakily deflating balloon."
Yeah. See, what people need to realize is that I became friends with you before you got cool. So then
I got cool?
Yeah, because you're saying like, oh, if he's friends with you, he must be cool, right? I got in early, so I didn't have to be cool to be your friend.
Oh, I wasn't sure where you were headed with that little analogy or, description. So do you think you're sort of grandfathered in then? Like no matter what coolness level I might reach? I'll never be too cool for Matt.
I mean, that's up to you.
But is that what you are? Do you have like a level of confidence in that is always going to be the case?
I have zero confidence in every aspect of my life.
Except for
I'm confident on that.
Yes, exactly. So, that's not a good thing.
Meh.
Is it more like you're, cautiously optimistic? Can you look at it that way? Or are you like just straight up, no, I'm horrible at all aspects of life and I'm waiting to be proven otherwise?
I mean, there's a few things I'm pretty good at, but,
name them.
They're not podcast appropriate. Ladies.
Why are they not podcast appropriate?
I don't know.
Is there... We do. I mean, I know on the YouTube front, we definitely mark this down as not for children, and I know that it has a explicit rating on the audio platforms. So
I was just trying to be silly, Sean. I was trying to be silly.
Well, with an extreme lack of confidence, I must say, and therefore. I wouldn't say you pulled it off. The guy's cock.
Pull other things off. Ladies?
No.
Anyways, hi, I'm Matt. That's Sean. Welcome to High School Famous. That's the thing you usually always do at the beginning.
Hello, welcome to High School Famous.
Yeah.
Please, students, turn your textbooks to page 204. Yeah. I think we're going to attempt to get into something holiday related this time.
Yes, we are. 100%.
Wow.
I came
gross
and slightly prepared for this episode.
The first part helped you clear your mind and focus on
I got that, and then I'm currently in the refractory period, so I'm jazzed. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you've got a good 12 hours.
Yeah, I'm covered in jazz or whatever the hell that was that we talked about one time.
Dried up crusty jazz.
Dried up crusty jazz all over the bottom of my desk.
Like
that's
the
where I do
underside of
it. Yep. And
it all just straight up, it all adheres there. There's nothing that drips down onto the floor.
I mean, there's some stalactites happening.
All right. All right. So National
gross.
Geographic.
That's such a gross image of semen stalactites on the bottom of my desk.
I do applaud you for using the proper term.
Oh, of course.
I mean, a lot of people confuse those still. Even though we were all given a very, very helpful and easy to remember mnemonic device.
Yep.
Is that a mnemonic device?
Nope.
Okay, not a mnemonic, but a way to remember it.
Yeah.
Because the ones on the ground are full of might. That's what we were told.
I thought it was always told that the ones on the ceiling are holding tight to the ceiling.
No, the ones on the ground might have at some point been on the ceiling and fell. That's what I was taught.
You were taught? That's not what you were taught, by the way. And
that's how I learned.
A mnemonic device would be more so something like how to remember the planets with a phrase.
Like you sort of create a phrase where the beginning of each word is the beginning letter of the planets.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Roy G. Biv, I guess, is sort of like that. This doesn't turn into a phrase, but
the
kind of turns it to a name in a way.
Yeah, that one's the opposite.
Ooh, it helps you forget.
Roy G. Biv is what helps you remember the. That's not. I guess that's not necessarily a mnemonic device, because the mnemonic device in this case, you're exchanging the planets' names for other words to remember the order of the planets.
The order of the planets, not necessarily the names.
Because you'd be like my very elderly or whatever. I don't remember. Is it Mars, Venus, Earth?
I think it's Venus, Mars, Earth.
No, Mars is the closest. Or Mercury. Sorry, Mercury. No, it's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth. Or Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Mars is the fourth planet.
Mars is further from the sun.
I was mixing up my Marses and my Mercuries.
Yeah, that's why you.
So it'd be like my very elderly mother. Something. This is so dumb.
You don't know the rest.
I've never learned any of the mnemonic devices for the planets because I didn't care to. I guess there was nothing in my life where I'm like, I'm going to need to know the order of the planets. Yeah,
because nothing is crucial like that anymore, because you can always just refer to your phone and find out if you. It seems like it would be just as easy to just memorize the order of the planets. You know the saying, if I don't know, gun to my head, I would have to say whatever.
Sure.
Like there's always this imaginary scenario where
there's an imaginary gun to your head.
You're trying to gauge the ability to answer a specific question if you were under high levels of stress and could not refer to any outside help and your life was at stake. Let's try to option this for a real game show. What do you say?
Like the real game show, we're going to literally hold guns to people's heads?
Yeah. And they might think, because if you make them think that, oh, this is all TV, they're not really going to shoot me, so I'm not really going to be stressed out, it might not give the real effect of how they would handle that situation.
Right.
So at least to get people hooked, first episode,
you got to kill
someone's going to have to get shot in the head.
Somebody's got to die.
Yeah. I don't know if we can option this in America, at least at first. We might have to shop around some other countries, where they kind of celebrate that sort of thing.
Name one.
Maybe not a country, but let's
name a country that loves killing people.
I moved off from that idea, and I'm going to suggest that we present this on what's called the dark web. And it'll still end up being a feel-good type of a show, because people, if they answer correctly, they will of course be spared and possibly even win some prize money, trips, various other prizes, furniture sets.
They'll get to go back home.
Yeah, you're allowed freedom that we momentarily took from you. You didn't volunteer to be on the show.
Yeah. This seems like a good interrogation tactic.
What? Just putting a gun to someone's head?
Well, I mean, yeah, in general, yes. But also, this is a good way to get information out of somebody you're trying to get information out of. It's the same scenario. You put them in the room, you're like asking them a bunch of questions, but you do have the gun to their head, and if they answer the questions correctly, they get to live.
So are they under the impression...
It's just torture in general. It's the way a lot of people already do get information out of people.
Right. At least as portrayed in television and movies.
And those never lie.
My question is, are they under the impression that they are on a game show when you're trying to get information out of them?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So
we could do it that way.
With a game show, it could be called, What Do You Know? Tell me everything you know.
Yeah.
Or be shot.
We're going to have to workshop this a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we'll give it the old crazy gopher roundup treatment, and
it gets on GSN somehow.
Well, all game shows end up there.
I mean,
if we don't debut there, we're going to get picked up and run in syndication on Game Show Network.
or
For
they'll
sure.
just show. That's where they'll show all the reruns.
That's what syndication means, doesn't it?
Well, yeah,
So
technically.
okay. I mean, obviously for
Just gotta
American
make it
audiences,
5 years.
obviously for American audiences, we'll blur out and pixelate certain things so that it's sort of left to your own imagination as to what just got shot in the face by what, if they got the question wrong.
I mean,
And
if you don't cut away and you haven't pixelated it prior to the event happening, if it suddenly then becomes pixelated, it doesn't leave much to the imagination of what just happened.
you could still trust me. I mean, have you seen a lot of modern movies and TV shows? Like, you can make anything look like anything you want. You can make it so it looks like they were like hit in the face with a tomato, and then it came out the other side of their face,
Right.
and then they fell to the ground. So again, it's going to be left to people's own interpretations as to what really happened.
Don't think
But-
it will.
Every episode where someone gets shot, we will have to run one of the like in loving memory of, and then put in that contestant's name and the years they were alive.
At the beginning?
No, the end. I said the
Okay,
end.
I was about to say.
Did something just break?
I need to find out. Hold on.
Okay. We're probably gonna cut this, so I'm gonna look at my phone like a junkie. Fear not, my sweets. It is only thee who has to worry of
All right, nothing broke.
declining. What?
Nothing broke. My cat just decided it wanted to lay up on top of something, and there was something glass in its way, and he knocked it to the floor, but it didn't break.
Just casually, flicked that out of the way.
Yeah, you know how cats are.
I do know
Anyhow.
how cats are. Even though it's been several years, I did grow up with several cats.
You did.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, you guys.
Ad nauseum. Why'd you break it up?
You grew saying I grew up with several cats just makes it sound like you and a bunch of cats like lived together somewhere and
yeah. I lived in the
went through
cat
some
orphanage.
experiences.
Yeah, oh yeah. We, those were formative years, and we all went through them together, and it creates a strong bond.
Yeah.
I have a bond with these cats.
Well, they're all dead now.
If they ever call for help, I'm right there to help them out. They would do the same for me.
Yeah,
They've got 9 lives, Matt.
they're all dead.
They're going to outlive me. I only have 1 life, as far as I know. I've heard tell of other lives post this one, but there's no guarantees.
I mean, this might not even be your first life.
It might not. I might be on my final life.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
If I have anything
This
to
is,
say about it.
Matt,
Yeah, huh? Hi.
when's the last time you thought of the cake boss, Buddy?
What?
When's the last time the cake boss ever popped in your brain that you can recall?
This is the first.
Ever?
No, I'm assuming you're talking the show Cake Boss, the guy from
The
the show
or
Cake
the
Boss.
guy, Buddy?
Okay,
Yeah, either one. The show or
I
the
might
guy.
be vaguely familiar as to who he is. I've never once watched that show. I'm
Okay.
aware of its existence.
Yeah.
So I would say the last time that he popped into my brain would be decades.
Just now.
I don't know. When did that show start? Has it been less than
I
2
think
decades?
I think it was in the middle of the 2000s, like 2006 or 8 or something
okay,
like
so
that.
well over
I
a decade.
think. So this is funny. I've been re-listening to the old episodes of this podcast called Tell 'em Steve, Dave.
Right.
Which started in, I want to say, 2010. And so now I'm in like the 2011 era. And I've also been watching a lot of, and don't ask me why, I've just been watching a lot of holiday baking competition shows.
Okay.
And so when one was done, it said like, you might also like. And then there was this thing called Duff, or Buddy versus Duff, or Duff versus Buddy, something like that.
Mhm.
There's a guy named Duff who has a bakery in California, and then there's Buddy who has his bakery in Jersey, the cake boss guy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, because Duff is one of the judges on one of the shows I'd been watching, and I never heard of this guy before this show, but now I know who he is. So I watched a couple episodes of this Duff vs. Buddy show, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that Cake Boss guy, I think. I haven't thought about him in who knows how long. And then, of course, popped up after that was, you might also like Cake Boss. So I watched an episode of Cake Boss.
Okay.
And I remembered a reason I didn't like this show at all when it was first on, because I remember seeing bits of it kind of in the background here and there. But, you know, if someone has a profession and that profession is not in being an on-air personality, and then they're thrown into a show where they're all of a sudden on camera, they, especially in sort of interview type of scenarios, they tend to sound very fake, and they're over-exaggerating their personality and trying to sound bigger than they are for the camera, and it's quite obvious. And I thought, well, yeah, this guy was really bad at this. Everything he says is like this. Rachel Ray wants to do a segment in my bakery. Like, just very high-pitched.
Gotcha.
And everything is so exciting and so big. And I'm like, okay, well, that's enough of that. I don't like watching this show. The next day when I got into my car, it resumed playing an episode of that Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast that I was in the middle of. And right away, one of the guys on the show, Walt, starts talking about Cake Boss and how annoying and overly dramatic and overly excited he is about everything he says on camera. And I'm like, this is crazy that I'm listening to a podcast from 2011 just out of nowhere, and I get exposed to the Cake Boss guy for the first time since his show was probably originally on air.
Right.
And then that old show, the podcast, just happens to mention Cake Boss the very next morning.
Yeah.
And make fun of him and point out the same exact thing that I was noticing about him at the same time.
It's Google, man. They read your thoughts and they just dump all that information right on you all at the same time. It's crazy.
I don't think Google had anything to do with that.
6 of one, half dozen the other.
Because I watched the show on the streaming service Max, and then I listened to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. So from in between there's no, to my knowledge, no Google connection.
Yeah, Meta.
Oh, sorry,
Meta. It was a Meta connection.
Alphabet
maybe,
Inc.
instead.
Alphabet Inc.
Yeah.
Well,
hi. It's, I don't know why I said hi. Let's get into some holiday shenanigans, Sean. I have some stuff that I found that I would love to get into.
Is this what you sent me last week or no?
What did I send you last week?
The 20 worst Christmas movies of all time?
Oh, no, I completely forgot about that.
All right. So you got something new.
Yeah, this is something different. So I got some things that I am going to just kind of read to you and see what you think.
Your strong suit.
Yep. I'm getting the same at it. So this is a little thing from December 19th of 2022, so a couple years ago. Tampax has announced that they are going to be one of those brands everyone associates with Christmas, like Macy's or Coca-Cola.
I have a hard time believing they accomplished this.
Well, between the Coca-Cola Polar Bears and the Macy's tree lighting in Rockefeller Center, some brands just say, I'm starting off so good already.
Is it because of all the deep red?
I don't know what that means.
Christmas colors, red.
I get.
Tampax.
Okay, I thought you were talking about my reading had something to do with that. Okay.
The household name Christmas-wise.
I'm going to
Tampax.
read you this article, and then you can determine why. All right. Some brands just make people think of Christmas, and it looks like another company is aiming to make themselves a beloved fixture in the holiday season. Tampax has announced they are going to try to be one of those brands everyone associates with Christmas. In a press release earlier today, Tampax declared that by Christmas 2023, the brand name Tampax will be essentially synonymous with Christmas. We are changing our branding entirely. From now on, our tampon boxes will be red with green trim, featuring depictions of happy families and around their fireplaces. Their mantles decorated with garland made of tampons, said Tampax.
This isn't real.
Just bear with me. Today's children will grow up seeing commercials where Santa and Rudolph themselves pour out boxes of Tampax Pearl tampons in the yard for kids to make snow angels in. And our new jingle, that time of the month, that time of the year, will drive home our message that Tampax is a brand for families to enjoy together over the holiday season. Tampax has also unveiled a new line of holiday tampons, which have a light fir tree scent and make a jingling sound when shaken. Additionally, they have
wait, what? No.
Additionally, they have planned for a Carol of the Tampax night to take place in CVS parking lots around the country, where children dressed in winter garb will hold long white tampon-shaped candles and sing traditional Christmas songs. And in a final bid to secure their place in the Christmas canon, the company has also devised a new mascot, a mid-30s version of Mrs. Claus, who is always dealing with hormone-driven hot chocolate cravings and begging the elves to bring her a heating pad. As Christmas draws near, it looks like Tampax is going to play a much bigger part in the holidays than ever before, and we are here for it. If Macy's thinks they can corner the market on the holidays with just a few festive window displays, they better think again, because tampons are now a major part of Christmas. Happy holidays, all.
So that's not real.
What makes you think that?
If it is, they are completely out of their minds. And this is something that only appeals to 50% of the population anyway. And wouldn't this raise wouldn't this cause a bunch of kids to ask their parents a lot of questions where they're like, well, they're not at the age that we were ready to discuss the idea of using a tampon, but thanks, Tampax, for trying to become a household name synonymous with Christmas. You forced us to have these frank and awkward discussions at ages 2, 3, and 4 years old.
Is it any worse than a soda company doing it? Because a lot of parents don't want their kids drinking soda at a young age.
That is true, but it's kids know of soda, and it's not something you manage in private. You don't need to I'm going to head off into the bathroom to drink my soda, and then I'll come out with my soda drink. So you're saying that people should hide the fact that they have a menstrual cycle? No, but again, there's a certain age where kids learn about these things. It's the health, whatever it is, 6th grade or so health class or something like that. I like how you're comparing using a tampon to manage a woman's menstrual cycle to drinking soda. Well, how about this? How about I compare it to this? Do you think think breastfeeding in public is okay, should be allowed? I think it should. Okay. So do you think then as well for women, they should be allowed to just put their tampons in public? Should we not have to hide that? That should not be something done in public. Wow. Interesting. I think more for sanitary reasons than anything else. You heard it here first, ladies. Sean doesn't think you should have the right to put your tampon in public. Behind closed doors only, Sean says. I want to know the amount of women that are fighting for this. They're saying, "Gosh, I wish I could just change it out." Should we put a poll at the dinner table in a fancy restaurant? Should we put a poll out on our socials? Yeah, because that'll garner a huge response. The absurdity of it might. It might. I do, and this is someone. Please prove me wrong, ladies. In person. Yeah, just show up and change them out right in front of me. No, I don't. During election years, you hear about a lot of so much more seriously than I thought you would. You hear a lot of your hot button topics. One, of course, being very women centric. I don't recall this one ever coming up in advertisements or something that's being fought in legislature and and things like that.
Well, clearly, Sean, you're not as big of a feminist as I am. I pay attention to these things. The women are clamoring. The women are clamoring to get them tampons in and out in the broad daylight.
Did you? But not at night. They're not interested in that.
Yeah.
Did you use the term clamoring on purpose?
I did not.
I thought you did.
I did.
Anyway,
not.
So please reveal that this is a phony initiative of the
Sean,
Tampax company.
This was not a real article.
Son of a
This
gun.
was This was a news article on clickhole.com that I found.
Clickhole?
Clickhole.com. Our friends at Clickhole wrote this little news article.
My secret dream job.
Yes. I accidentally closed a different tab than I wanted to just now, but that's okay. I don't necessarily need it.
Matt, be real. What if I secured myself like a full-time position at clickhole.com and it seemed like it was secure? It wasn't just like, oh, well, this is hot right now and it's going to go away in 4 years or something like that, and there's going to be some layoffs or whatever the case may be.
Right.
If it seemed like a steady for sure thing and the pay was good, and there's a chance I could bring you on as well. Is that something you would go for? Would you pursue that idea?
I like the idea of it. I wonder how good I would be at it, or how consistent I would be at it. I think maybe if they're, depending on how they do it, like if they give you like, hey, this is like, they give you specific things to work on instead of just like, hey, come up with something. Like I'd probably be slightly better at if they said, hey, make a fake news article about Tampax trying to get into the fucking Christmas market. I'd be like, okay, I can probably, I have something to work with. I'll try to go for it. I think I need to practice my writing a lot more. I'm a little out of practice with my comedy writing, as it were.
Well, if I got myself a job there and I just gave you a heads up, hey, they're looking to hire again in 3 months. And I gave you the heads up, you could brush up on your writing.
Yeah, because I'm sure you have to. I mean, you're going to have to give them some sort of
send in samples or something of your work, but yeah, they could easily say, "Hey, Matt, this next month you're in charge of coming up with fake song lyric quizzes."
Yeah,
then you would know those are your assignments, and you get to pick the songs.
Yeah,
you could probably turn in 30 songs, and they would pick 10 of those or something and feature them on the website or something like that. I don't know their payout. Like, I don't know what their employment setup is like. If people are if it's just sort of work for hire, you get paid by the article or whatever the case may be. But in the version where it's a full-time 40-hour-a-week gig with benefits and vacation time and things like that, it's like any other job that's full-time and has all the things you expect it to have: medical, dental, vision, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you could make a full-on career over it, it seems like it would be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
I will get to work on that.
All right. Next up, Sean. Now that you're in the know of what I'm doing here. This is 7 Christmas gifts that will make every member of your family so fucking pissed.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hear them.
Sean, everyone in your family sucks. They suck ass, and it's time for them to get what they deserve. Here are 7 Christmas gifts you can give them this year that will make them so goddamn fucking pissed. All right.
That's what I want.
All right. Number one.
I haven't figured out how to piss off my family yet.
Well, we're going to do it tonight. Well, we're going to figure it out tonight so you can do it for Christmas.
I'll do it, yeah.
Number 1, a hamster. A hamster is a perfect gift for a loser family member like your mom. They're dirty and they smell bad and they kick their stupid little hamster wood chips all over the floor. And your mom is going to unwrap one on Christmas morning and go, "What the hell is this? Who bought this? I can't keep this. It'll be the perfect
It would say
start.
who it's from on the
You don't have to. You don't have to label it.
Santa.
Yeah, there you go. It'll be the perfect start to a holiday full of conflict and screaming. Fuck everybody.
Okay, so
Number-
hamster.
Yep.
A gift that has been given
Yep.
in the history of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one.
Number 2, a hologram of Ryan Lochte.
The swimmer.
Yes. Is it Lochte?
Yeah. Lochte.
Lochte. All right.
Yep. I know that.
Holograms are pretty cool, but not this one. It's just a huge, cumbersome facsimile of disgraced Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte, and it's programmed to accuse everyone in its vicinity of stealing its wallet. Trust us, your parents are going to flip their lid when they wake up to a 6'2" guy in a Speedo and bleach blonde hair standing in their living room screaming at them to give him back his Gap credit card. But that's too bad for them, isn't it? Happy holidays, assholes.
I think this one has a little more merit than the hamster.
Okay. It's at least cooler. It's a gadget.
Yeah, but I mean merit as in it's something that would probably piss someone off.
Oh, gotcha.
There's audio accompanying this hologram as well? And this is on a loop? I don't know what the downfall was of this Ryan Lochte fellow. I don't know. I didn't realize he was a disgraced swimmer.
I think he faked a robbery. He faked that he was mugged.
Faked that his stuff was
that him and somebody else got mugged outside of a gas station or outside of somewhere during the Olympics.
Was this just to be a prank, or was this to try to gain?
I think he was trying to get something out of it.
Like he's calling his credit card companies or something and trying to. I don't know what would that do.
Should I pause real quick and look up?
I don't know
what happened with Ryan Lochte, because I don't remember exactly the full story. Maybe I can get a quick little short of it. Here, there's Lochte Gate.
Oh, everything has to have a gate.
Yep, exactly.
Thanks, Watergate.
It's about the 4 different members of the 2016 Summer Olympics swimming team. Yeah, so initial stories reported that him and the other 3 were robbed at gunpoint after a night out in Rio. Later details emerged that the armed robbers posing as police were actually security guards at a gas station where the swimmers had urinated outside the bathroom. And Lochte allegedly vandalized a framed poster, and ended with the swimmers providing money to the guards. So they paid the guards off or some shit, but they said that they were mugged, but they weren't really mugged. They were actually publicly urinating and damaging property.
What? Okay, I don't understand the connection though. How is claiming to have been mugged going to justify or explain the urination and the vandalism?
It wasn't. They were trying to get away with nobody finding out about the urination and the vandalism, so they paid off the security guards.
Okay.
But then I guess to try to hide what happened, they said they got mugged. It sounds like they were drunk and not making good decisions.
Yeah, it sounds like so, because this doesn't seem. I'm trying to figure out the through line of all this, and I can't figure out how being mugged is going to explain away or hide the other activities. Unless they're claiming that the muggers are the ones who did the other things, but they paid off. If you paid off the security guards to not say anything about the vandalism and the urination, what does the mugging do? Just account for your time, like saying your whereabouts, you were somewhere else getting mugged, and so you couldn't have been at that location doing those things?
Sean, I don't know.
Matt,
I don't know.
What a disgrace, that Ryan Lochte. I'm going to return his Funko Pop. Even though it's 12 years past, it's only been 8 years since 2016. It's 4 years past its return window. It's a huge return window for Funko. You got any Funko Pops?
Nope. Number 3 of the
moving
bad
on.
gifts to give to piss off your family.
3 of the
Grain.
7, right? Grain.
Grain.
Grains.
No.
Grains.
No. Whether you're shopping for a younger teen sibling or an elderly aunt, or I almost said elderly aunt uncle. It says great uncle. An elderly great uncle. It'll be hard to piss them off more than you can with a plastic baggie full of loose, unprocessed grain. Throw in some barley, amaranth, oats, whatever. It won't be long before they're angrily throwing their bag of grist to the ground
Ooh.
and storming out of the house in just one of many displays of rage and disappointment you'll see from your loved ones during your gift exchange.
Your family would have to definitely already display high levels of pettiness and fit throwing when they don't get something they like, in order for them to storm out of a house from receiving a gift that they might think is weird.
Well, maybe
Like,
there's already
are they-
a thing with their family about grain.
But this is suggesting that this is going to work on any family. Like if I
Possibly.
buy my elderly aunt uncle a bag of grist, then they will storm out and possibly break their hip on the icy sidewalk.
There's potential there. It could
And
happen.
that would further the amount that they are pissed at me.
Mm-hmm. Number 4.
Is it? Oh, okay.
An 18-wheeler with a huge logo for a business called Dumb Bitch LLC on the side.
Okay. We're off to a good start here.
If you start planning early enough, you can get an 18-wheeler truck registered in your brother's name in time for Christmas morning, complete with a logo depicting him wearing a t-shirt on that says Dumb Bitch LLC, emblazed on both sides of the shipping container. Then all you have to do is open up the living room blinds and watch his face fall in horror as he sees the enormous, ugly, incredibly impractical new vehicle you got him. Get going and make it your family's worst Christmas yet.
The
That
truck
one
is
I don't-
registered.
That one I don't agree with, because you could just resell the truck and get a bunch of money for Christmas.
Exactly.
Those
and
trucks
if
are very
you're,
expensive.
if the gift giver
Mm-hmm.
spent the money on the truck,
Yeah.
and then you receive it and then sell it, you have a ton of money and they are out a ton of money.
Yep.
My question about the, what is it, Dumb Bitch LLC?
Yep.
Is that an official business that they had to
They would
register the name of?
Well, not necessarily. They could just put it on the
Because
side of
then-
the truck without having to actually make
Okay.
the company. You can
'Cause
write.
I was
You
gonna
can write
say-
anything on the side of a truck.
You can. I'm living proof. So if I was going to say, if you had multiple families doing this, there's going to be a lot of disputes over who rightfully owns the name of Dumb Bitch LLC.
True.
But if this is all just
Unless you make like a
graffiti-
franchise, set it up as a franchise initially, then anybody can buy
Yeah.
into it.
yeah, good idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way
Mhm.
around it. Thanks, Click Hole. They didn't think of that. We did.
Yeah. Number 5, yogurt. Everyone's eating plain yogurt this Christmas. The store brand kind. Enjoy the shitty taste, morons.
Some people like yogurt.
Plain yogurt, though?
I don't know.
Plain
but
yogurt's only good to
What?
like use in like cooking,
Plain
in my
yogurt.
opinion.
But plain yogurt is something. It's like if you have
It's good
bottles
for
of
you.
water, but then you buy those little flavoring squirt bottles, and you
Yeah.
can just squirt a little bit of flavor. Plain yogurt is it's a clean
base.
palate. You can add flavoring to it if you
Yeah.
like. You can
It's a
add
good,
various
uh,
nuts and
It's a good substitute for
flavors.
sour cream, also.
Is it
Yeah.
okay? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You ever put
It's a-
yogurt on your supreme taco?
We used to actually use yogurt instead of sour cream on tacos. When we were going
Is
through
there
like a healthy phase, we would make tacos, but we would use like a romaine lettuce leaf as the taco shell, and then you put all the
Gotcha.
ingredients in there, and you put yogurt on it.
I've gotten a I forget where it was from. It might be Jimmy John's, called an unwich,
Mm-hmm.
where all the fixings of the sandwich are wrapped up in lettuce versus bread.
Yeah.
Similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
Funny that you mentioned these healthy tacos. Well, today some of my coworkers were talking about these cinnamon toast crunch like dessert taco shells you can buy.
Awful.
The exact opposite of what
We
were
bought
doing.
we
So
bought like
there's a health
a
health benefit of Hey, now you know how it feels, all right? Yeah,
so
okay.
fucking rude. I can't believe you'd
Yeah,
interrupt me. I cannot believe it. Unacceptable.
You are not handling this well.
This is not okay.
This is something I deal with
so
regularly.
Uncool of you, dude. So unacceptable.
What's the health benefit of yogurt over sour cream?
I think it's just, I don't know. Yogurt's just kind of...
I'm asking because I don't know much about either.
I'm
not a consumer of those two items.
I think probably just less calories, less different. I think it's different fats, not necessarily less fat. I think yogurt
Maybe
has
there's better
different
fats in the yogurt.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I could see that.
Yeah. Sometimes I just kind of take people's word for things, and I'm just like, okay,
sure.
No, but yeah, have you ever bought the because Taco Bell does like the Doritos Locos taco or whatever, where it's got the Dorito taco shell.
Delicious. Have
you ever just bought the Dorito taco shells from the store?
No.
They are pure salt. They are awful.
So they're not the same as if you get them at Taco Bell.
I don't know. I don't know if I think they were the Taco Bell brand ones that we had bought, but they were, for whatever reason, they were sickeningly salty. Ooh. Just ruined the flavor of the taco completely. They were unbearable to eat.
Wow.
All right. Number 6.
Yeah.
1 ping pong paddle. This is already frustrating, right?
That's dickish enough to make someone go, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah. It can be difficult.
No balls, no table.
It can be difficult to shop for children in your family, but not if you get them 1 single ping pong paddle, no ball. It'll be so satisfying to see the tears of frustration they'll cry as they try to figure out what to do besides sort of swing the paddle around in the air, growing more and more upset as they realize just how shitty their gift is.
This is based on, these families are crybabies. And they also are they're not good at, just being thankful and saying, "Oh, thank you so much for this gift." And then later on, to each other, once on the way home, they complain about them. They're just openly in front of everybody throwing a fit.
Mm-hmm.
Who taught the manners to these family members?
Have you never been in a Christmas situation where somebody throws a fit during Christmas?
I have.
Yeah, it's stupid.
But it was one person, not every member of the family. This is suggesting that everybody that receives one of these gifts on this list is going to do something of that nature.
Well, you try it and you see.
I'm not getting any of my family gifts.
Touche.
I'm certainly not going to waste money on getting them angry, gifts to piss them off.
Yeah. But this last one, Sean,
number 7
would be fun to do.
The other ping pong paddle.
No. Number 7, a Christmas tree. The best way to piss off your entire family. I read that sentence wrong, but got to the same exact point where I needed to be. The best way to piss your entire family off to the point where where you get run out of the house for the rest of the week is to show up Christmas morning while everyone is sitting around the beautifully decorated Christmas tree and drag in an even larger second Christmas tree. It won't be
that's too tall.
It won't be long before the entire family is hopping fucking mad, just letting loose on each other as they try to figure out what the fuck to do about the fact that they have 2 huge trees in the living room and the cousins are coming over in an hour.
Oh no!
Where the hell do we put it? They'll cry. It's getting pine needles all over the place. What a shit show it'll be. Merry Christmas, and fuck every single one of the stupid fucking people you're related to.
Now,
I think that one is the best of the bunch, for sure.
It's a pretty good idea, to be honest.
It's hilarious.
An expensive, cumbersome idea, just to piss people off.
Especially it's a real tree, yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, this sounds like a real tree where they're like pine needles falling on the ground and things like that. I would wager that any rational person would think, hey, for now, let's just keep this thing outside.
It's too late. It's already in the house.
You can't remove it from the house?
No, because you know how because you have to get it in the house. It's still wrapped up to get it through the door and stuff. And you get it inside. You take that wrapping off. Now there's just it's a big tree. It's going to be really difficult to get back out. Now you got to re-twine it all up to get it out of the house.
You say this like I've experienced the wonders of buying a live Christmas tree in my life.
I mean, I also have not ever done a live tree.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
But I'm aware of how they work.
I'm aware of live trees.
Yes. I'm quite familiar with them. I've seen them. I've touched them. I've been in their presence.
I've filled them.
You filled them.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
There was one that had a little hole that looks like it would have been a good home for a squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a stray squirrel, and
what kind of
gently
trees are you talking about?
Live ones.
Like, are we still talking Christmas trees, or are you just talking live trees in general?
Live trees. Live trees.
I was going to say, because squirrels typically don't make holes in, pine trees. Pine trees, again, famously have very narrow trunks.
Yeah, again, this squirrel did not make the hole in this tree. I found the hole. I found the squirrel. I introduced the two, and the squirrel moved in. And the hole.
And then you filled the hole?
Was satisfied.
You filled the hole with the squirrel.
Exactly.
Okay, I thought you put a squirrel in the tree, then filled the hole up so the squirrel couldn't get back out.
I filled the hole and plugged it up.
Yeah.
And so it was the best part was hearing the very muffled struggle of the squirrel trying to get himself out of the situation he found himself involuntarily placed.
Right.
Unfortunately, squirrels are not very tenacious. And so he gave up pretty quick.
Right.
Just began looking for nuts.
Sean, would you like to hear a Christmas miracle?
You've got more?
I've got one more thing I have pulled up already.
Let's hear it. I mean,
all right.
Is the miracle that your family is pissed off because of the gifts you got them?
No. This is the 3 ways baby Jesus immediately asserted his dominance after he was born to prove he was the Son of God.
All right.
So trigger warning to anybody who doesn't like any sort of jokes about the baby Jesus.
Or dominant babies.
With all the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, it's easy to forget why we celebrate Christmas in the first place. This time of year is a chance to reflect on the blessed day in Bethlehem many years ago. Many years ago is a funny way to say that. When Jesus was born in a manger.
Several years ago.
And then immediately established his sovereignty through a series of alpha moves. Here are the 3 ways baby Jesus asserted his dominance after he was born to prove he was the Son of God.
Have all these things been clickhole?
Yes.
Or not? Okay.
Yes, these are all clickhole. Number 1, when he demanded Joseph fetch him wine the second he came out of Mary. If you grew up going to Christmas service at church, you are undoubtedly familiar with this special moment from the Christmas story that took place just as Jesus was crowning. Hold on. I think I read that. Yeah, it was the second his head came out of Mary, not him fully. So it's just his head is out. He's demanding wine. All right. When he opened his eyes for the first time and then stared directly at Joseph before ordering him to get him some wine. As it's written in the first chapter of Matthew. So these are the Bible verses.
Okay.
All right. And as the child first appeared from the womb, he turned his gaze upon Joseph and said in a man's voice, "Just as you were cuckolded by my Father in heaven, so shall I delight in your weakness. Go, coward, and bring me your best wine, so that I may drink deeply and rejoice in my own arrival. For I am the Messiah, and you are a virgin." And at the child's word, a chorus of 10,000 trumpets sounded in heaven as Joseph, like a beaten slave, Jesus Christ, I did not reread that, retreated fearfully and fetched his finest wineskin, which the newborn Savior then did empty in one great gulp before emerging fully from his mother's womb and tumbling into the manger that Joseph had until then been sitting upon as a chair, leaving Joseph to stand on his weary feet.
I don't know about this.
What?
I didn't find that humorous at all. But I will say that
What did you not find humorous about it?
the whole idea. He demanded Joseph bring him wine.
That's just part one, Sean, of his 3 ways of showing dominance.
But I will say that if this baby is born and it is thought to be the Son of God already,
Yep.
that the reason that Joseph is doing his bidding is because of that idea. If there was if this was your everyday run-of-the-mill baby and it said those things, well, if it said those things, it might also do it because it's a manly-sounding talking baby, and you might be scared of its powers. But I think it's because of that display, because of the idea that it was the Son of God, that he did it in the first place.
Perhaps.
Right. I don't think this was Jesus. His assertiveness is by itself did not get him the wine he asked for. There was some inherent fear because of the idea of who he is.
Well, there you go.
So,
wow, what a truly beautiful scene, and one we should all keep in our hearts as we celebrate Christmas this year. Number 2, when he took off his swaddling clothes and rubbed the wise men's myrrh all over his naked infant body, forcing everyone to watch. As we give presents to our loved ones this Christmas, it's good to reflect on the very first time Christmas presents were ever given, as detailed in this remarkable exchange between Jesus and the gift-bearing wise men in Luke 2, verse 4 through 6.
okay, let's hear these verses.
The wise men saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and presented unto him the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And the child shook each of their hands with a powerful grip, and then became naked in their presence. The child then poured the myrrh upon his nakedness and commanded the men to worship him as he lathered all his parts. And when one of the wise men momentarily looked away, Jesus snapped his fingers and made him lame as a warning to the others not to avert their gaze. When the child asked the wise men, "Does my body look competition ready to you?" The wise men agreed that it did, far more than Joseph's body, which was a bad one. The wise men then left.
Sick burn.
The wise men then left and traveled through the nations, heralding the arrival of the new top dog king.
Okay.
Was that a little bit better?
A little bit better. I keep forgetting, and I tried to look it up, but I think I spelled it wrong. I keep forgetting what myrrh is. This might sound weird, but in order for me to be able to picture what's going on,
it's myrrh.
Oh, that's nothing I would have guessed on my own.
Yeah, you typed in MER.
MIR.
Oh, MIR.
And got the space station. Is a yellow, fragrant, sap-like resin that comes out of cuts in the bark of certain Comifera trees. Comifera? Including the Comifera mirum tree. Myrrh contains chemicals that might reduce pain and kill bacteria. It's used worldwide, but is especially popular in China and Egypt.
Doesn't seem like something you could just pour over your body.
Right. Well, it does. It says resin.
The agonizing, them having to sit there and stare at him agonizingly as it slowly pours out onto him.
Yeah, anything that spews out of a tree is typically doesn't happen very quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't really spew.
Yeah.
As much as it
especially that
oozes.
trap squirrel. It oozes, yeah.
All right. Number 3. When he body slammed a camel onto his own manger to prove he was physically strong too.
Oh.
As often depicted in nativity scenes, Jesus' humbling of a camel is without a doubt one of the most memorable parts of the Christmas story. From Matthew 2, verses 12 through 16, Jesus saw the camel chewing of its cud and said, "This is worst horse I have ever seen. We cannot have this." He then raised the beast high over his head and walked around with it for some time before throwing it down with tremendous force upon the manger, which burst into a great terror of splinters that flew in all conceivable directions, wounding Joseph and only Joseph. And lo, the broken-bodied camel did moan and die, as the newborn Messiah did push-ups atop it, showing to all of mankind that he was strong and worthy of praise. Joseph then approached the child, who was still in his nakedness, and tried to dress him with swaddling clothes. Jesus did not enjoy this, and he withered Joseph's fingers until they were small, so he could not fasten the swaddle clothes, and because of this, Joseph could never practice carpentry ever again. The child then departed from the stable, saying he had plans, and strutted away naked down the road to Jerusalem, whistling beautifully into the night. Amazing. And this, folks, is what Christmas is all about.
I mean, it's easy to forget. You know, you get lost in the commercialization of it, and all the hoopla. But this is a good reminder.
Yeah.
So he just said, "I've got plans," as in like I've got to go, like I've got things
he has plans
to. Like what a weird.
Like how does he have? He was just born.
Exactly.
Moments
how does he have
before
plans?
this.
But also in these three tremendous displays of dominance, why then feel the need to explain the reason you're leaving, just so people are not like questioning or upset?
He doesn't want his mom to worry about him.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because as you can see, he did nothing bad to Mary in any of this.
Right.
It's just Joseph was just.
If you're newborn, we're displaying that level of dominance, physical prowess, things like that. Would you worry about him?
I guess I'd be more so. Maybe
his ability to
still
look
just
after
a
himself.
Baby.
True. Yes. I'd be more worried not about his well-being, but what he might do to others. Yeah,
but I think no matter how strong something is, it can still be killed very easily, ladies.
Oh, I see. And this is a baby that seemingly would get himself in a position of potentially being killed multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, at least...
Especially those unaware that he's the Son of God.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I give him 30-something years. And
roughly.
Then
of that type of behavior before they've had it.
And then, maybe he'll get killed, Somebody will make an example of him.
And we're only going to hear about some of those years. There's going to be a gap where we don't know what happened.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much of a gap there is, but from what I know, you hear about him being born, and then like you hear about him a little bit later when he's like doing some cool stuff for people, and then he dies.
Showing off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I want to say it was in the movie Dogma where they mentioned the number of years, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't a very good Christian when I was one.
That's why you're not one anymore.
Yeah. Catholics specifically, the worst ones.
According to who?
They're just, to me, kind of the more extreme ones. Catholics are pretty extreme when it comes to, believe it or go to hell.
Oh yeah, I mean, but they take it the most seriously.
Yeah,
it means the most to them.
I'd also
They're
like
passionate.
to. I think it's interesting that he asked for wine when he could have just made his own.
Yes, true.
And you got to imagine Jesus makes wine. It's probably the best.
Why? He's got no experience making wine at this point.
But it's Jesus.
He's only drank one. He's only consumed one helping of wine now.
Well,
so
I mean,
at
the time when, in the Bible,
asserting dominance.
I'm talking about like in the Bible when they talk about Jesus turning water into wine. At that point, you got to think, he's probably had wine tons of times.
He's an adult now. We missed some years. He's grown up.
It's well documented. Jesus was he was constantly throwing down the wines. So he's got to know what good wine is. So you think Jesus makes good wine, and you can't
necessarily.
But you can't.
You can get sloshed on boxed wine.
Well, you can, But also, I guess it doesn't.
Jesus,
I guess it doesn't matter.
You're supposed to swirl it and spit it.
I guess it wouldn't really matter if Jesus made really good wine or really shitty wine. Everybody's going to tell him it's good because you don't tell Jesus he made bad wine.
Well, especially because he's so dominant.
Yeah,
everyone's afraid of him at this point. He probably couldn't actually make his own wine. He was just sort of that delusional.
He just told them it was
"Oh
wine.
Yes, of course."
Everybody's still drinking water and acting drunk.
Yeah,
They're like, oh,
yeah,
great wine,
thanks.
Jesus.
Yeah, quick, go get like those loaves of bread and make him think he just
what vintage is
made
this?
them appear. There is no vintage.
Yeah,
time just began.
Is that how he talked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's some wine I made. Apostles.
Well, I mean, there you go. That's what I brought.
That's incredible. It was good for me to learn those earlier moments in Jesus's life.
Yeah.
And how he asserted high levels of dominance.
Mm-hmm.
And shamed Joseph.
I mean, it had actual, verses from the Bible in that story, so it's unrefutable.
Yeah.
Can't be refuted. It was there. There was references. There was cited resources.
It was signed in blood.
But whose blood?
I don't know.
The blood of
Joseph,
Christ,
probably. Oh, sorry. I thought maybe he had, murdered Joseph at some point to assert dominance again, and then bring him back to life, and then keep killing him over and over again.
Do you think it would be really crazy?
Yes.
If at the Last Supper, when he was offering
Soylent Green is people,
he was offering the wine and said, "This is my blood. Drink from it."
Right.
What if it was really like he really put his blood in those mugs, and they're just like, "Oh fuck, we have to drink this," and then the bread was like, "This is my body." Like he actually took chunks of his body and put it on the table, and people had to eat that shit.
And then he pours out a heaping box of Tampax.
Yeah, and then that's why they actually crucified him, because he was like, "This guy's fucking insane. He's actually making people drink his blood and eat his body. This is an actual concern."
Their fear of what might happen to them became outweighed by their concern over him just still being around.
Yeah.
Like they were afraid to do anything to him because he was the Son of God and he could just end them.
Yeah.
You saw what they did. You saw what he did to Joseph.
Yeah. It's really weird how he started off so strong like that, but then later in life he was just really caring and helpful.
You got your rambunctious years and then you settled down.
Your rambunctious immediacy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of questionable things that Mary consumed during that time.
Jesus came out swinging.
Yeah. He did. Swinging for wine.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to give your baby wine immediately as it's coming out. Because it's going to go right to their head.
The body would be able to digest it and process it probably.
Yeah.
Now spike some breast milk with a little wine, maybe. But hey, he was demanding
like to drink
wine. What do you like? It's how you like to drink what?
It's how I like to drink breast milk.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Unpasteurized, as all breast milk is.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about that. I couldn't tell you. I myself, aside from when I was a baby, have not consumed any.
You've been off the breast for years.
To know how I would like it prepared or served.
Yeah.
Or accompanied with.
I would agree.
So I'm
I
glad
think
you figured yourself out.
I'm off the wagon now, but I was pretty good for many years not drinking it. I was like, nope, I'm done drinking breast milk. I'm like, Mom, I'm done. I can't keep doing this. I have to go to school. I'm graduating today.
So that's when you stopped initially.
Yeah, I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
It's over.
You're not my mom anymore, Mom.
Yeah, it's over between us. Expect a tree this Christmas.
Can I come over and do some laundry? So what was it that, set your life down a spiral where you found yourself drinking it again? What caused you to relapse, as it were?
I met the right girl.
Someone gave you a single ping pong paddle.
Yeah, I went crazy, and I was swinging it wildly in the air, and I accidentally hit a breast that was plump and full and ready to go, and it squirted accidentally into my mouth, and I was like,
"Yeah,
that's familiar." And since then, I've been hooked.
Whose was it?
That's neither here nor there.
So, is it that particular person's that you're hooked on now, or is it any will do?
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, or Instagram at hsfamouspod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Fear not, my sweets. It is only thee who has to worry of...
All right, nothing broke.
Declining... What?